Hey guys, good morning. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you. This is a Monday morning. It's June 24, 2024. And thanks so much for being with me, whether you're here at 10:42 a.m., 10:42 p.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 6 a.m. I'm just so glad that you're here and that you're watching, following, and applying the content that I share with you guys on the Inspirations for Your Life show. So thank you so much for being here. You guys rock. All right, our master topic for the week, in case you didn't catch it the other day, it's captivating life stories that will change your life. We're on series 3, which means we're in the third year, and let's say the granular topic for today is adjusting to an audience. Again, series 3, third year. We're on show 26. Yes, we are on show 26, and we're on episode number 3. So it is great to be with you guys. Really great to be with you and let you know that, today's going to be a very interesting show. The reason I say that is because a lot of times, we want to go speak with somebody, but for whatever reason, like, we don't do it. And it's not because we don't want to. It's because something else happens. And we might procrastinate. I mean, there are lots of reasons, right? Why we might decide, not to do something the right way. So what I'm going to hope to do today is give you some tips and tricks to basically give you the tools so that you can speak to an audience. I mean, speaking to an audience is a little daunting, if you don't like to do that. I mean, I love to do that, but I know some people, they consider speaking to an audience like death. It's not, but people do get a little bit, how can I say, they get a little bit concerned about, what's going on. And there's no real need to worry about it, but just realize that, there is a benefit in your life. So let's talk about this. So adjusting to an audience. Now that you've done all your prep work and you're here, you're at the stadium, you're at the amphitheater, you're at the Coliseum, you're at the place where all these people have gathered just to listen to you. By the way, check out my hat in case you guys didn't. It's believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about, guys, is choosing the right tools for an impactful presentation. So first we have to ask ourselves, is the presentation going to be something that's in person, or is it going to be something that's not in person? I mean, I think that's probably the biggest thing. Is it something in person or something that's not in person? And so when I mean that, in person or not in person, it has to do with the tools. So if you're going to present online, like maybe you'll use Zoom, or you'll use Microsoft Teams, or you'll use a variety of other solutions to maybe convey or help bring people together in a virtual environment, right? Maybe you'll use something that's just an audio conference. You could use an audio bridge, right? Like a conference bridge, which we've heard about, a long time ago, and they're still popular. The thing about it is, if you're going to present in person, you have to have the right tools as well. So that means that you have to have the right projector, you have to have the right lights, you need to have the right props or demonstration materials that you're going to use. If it's going to be experiment, equipment, whatever it is, you've got to have that. Maybe you need a laser pointer so that you can point to the different items there on your presentation. Maybe you need a little remote control clicker so that you can advance the your PowerPoint or your presentation or what have you. You might need a laptop, right? And you always want to make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you've tested your stuff out before you get there, and always get there early, because there's no fun, whether you're a tech expert or not, there's no fun getting somewhere and then figuring out, oh, it didn't work. So you always want to make sure, hey, do you have an HDMI connection? This is what my laptop takes. What do you have on premise? Oh, we have all those cables. Or what's the connection to the machine? You can go and visit and see, like, okay, I'll make sure I bring an HDMI to SVGA or whatever it is, because maybe the venue doesn't have it. A lot of newer venues will have it, but you don't want to be wasting time or not starting all because of a technical glitch or a technical oversight that you could have easily caught up. So I think that's very important. What other tools do you need? Well, there's some other tools you can use for like asking questions, and we'll talk more about those in a little bit to engage your audience. Tools like, is there going to be music there? Or is there going to be microphones there? Of course, these sound like standard things, but you got to make sure that you have them and that they work properly. Otherwise, giving your presentation is going to lose luster because you're worrying about, oh my gosh, I don't have this, I don't have that. Even something as simple as having a bottle of water or having water on the stage. Because if you're speaking all a long time and you don't have a way to, let's say, relinquish your vocal cords with a little bit of water, well, that could be a reason for why your presentation doesn't go so well. All right, another thing you got to think about, ladies and gentlemen, is this. You got to think about to master the nuances of body language, right? Now, I'm not going to get into all the things of body language right now, but body language is key. So if you're up on stage and you're doing something like this, it means that you're closed. You're not open to things, right? So if you're talking with your gestures and you're doing things like this, that's very, very important. Using your eye contact. Now, you can't look at everybody. So maybe you look at the back of the room or you kind of look around. And so you've got to stay connected with your audience. And so the way you stand, the way you move your hands, the way that you express your body actually says more than what you believe it says. In fact, did you guys know that body language, yes, body language equates for, how much do you think? Equates for how much of the communication message? How much do you think, ladies and gentlemen? If you had a guess. Okay. So nonverbal communication, okay, 55%. The words, what you say, is only 7%. Vocal, we'll get to in a minute, is 38% of the message. That's pretty important. So that gets me on to point 3, amplify your projection. So if you're in the back of the room there, and even though you have a microphone, well, I'm talking about you, and I can't know, and I am really great to be here, and I am so happy that you came, and I'm a motivational speaker, and I'm going to inspire you to have an amazing day and to change your life. You're really like, this guy's sick. This guy is not going to motivate a fly. Hey, it's great to be with you, right? But you gotta live your talk. Okay, you can't just walk the talk. You gotta embody and live that. Because if you just do this when you're on stage, people say, "Oh, yeah, he's a phony." You've got to make sure that the way you are on stage. Now, you are a little more charismatic on stage, but you got to have that same personality. See, that's the key. That's where a lot of people go wrong. They come off stage and it's like, oh, they changed their hat, and it's like they can't do anything. And so you got to realize that being up on stage does personify who you are, but it shouldn't change who you are. I know so many people that get up on stage and they become someone they're not to try to attract their audience. Be who you are in real life, okay? Be that every day, and then be that on stage. So if you're not that way now and you want to change it, that's fine. But don't just change it to get up on stage. Your followers will know this, and they will stop following you. All right. And they will stop paying attention to your content. Craft compelling narratives through storytelling. This whole week is about stories, right? We talked about that in the very, very beginning, captivating life stories that will change your life. Craft your story in a way that it's going to make people curious to want to learn more. Many times I'll tell a story. I know I'm not going to finish it, but I just share enough. People come back and say, "Oh, I want to hear the rest of the story." Oh, we'll have to cover that another time, right? That's a great way to end, like a cliffhanger, right? You see many stories where at the end of the story, it's like they start going into something like, and we'll have to figure out what happens on the next episode. You're like, really? Okay. So compelling a crafting narrative is something you need to do before you get to your space where your audience is. When you're there, you have to adapt to them, their age, demographics, their likes, dislikes. You should have all this homework done before you get there. But I realize that when you're at a venue speaking, sometimes, it's not what you expect. And so you have to be ready to have another card up your sleeve and change the presentation, because the worst thing you could do is have people go to sleep on you. Like, that's just terrible, right? You have to skillfully, ladies and gentlemen, gauge and respond to your audience. How do you do that? Well, when you see people doing this, and for those of you over there that are actually going to sleep, I got something that's going to, keep you on the edge of your chair. If you want to know how to take that $5 and turn it into $5,000 and then into $5 million, well, stay awake. Yeah, well, so you get my point, right? Or maybe it's like, hey, I'm going to give you a tip in the next 5 minutes. So stay with me, but I've got to lay the groundwork for you to understand how to use it. But if you stay with me for this just 5 or 10 minutes and you apply this tip in your life, it's going to change everything. And the thing is, it's not going to cost you anything. You already bought a ticket to come to the show. So you're going to get this whether you want it or not. If you don't apply it, you're really missing out. I mean, that's the most important thing. All right. You've got to forge authentic connections that resonate. So that means when you get off stage, you're not this big celebrity that doesn't want to talk to me. Hey, hey, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It is a pleasure to meet you. Hey, I'm John. It's nice to meet you. Thanks so much for coming. What got you inspired about my content? How'd you learn about me? Oh, I was following your videos for 4 or 5 years, and I said, I've got to come and see you speak in person. Or, hey, my friend saw you on TV or saw you on Good Morning America or saw that now you're #1 first place on YouTube for one of the best coaches in America. And I said, I got to come and see you in person. And the first thing I say to these people is this. I say, thank you. I'm very grateful for all of you coming. And even when I start my shows, the first thing I do when I get on stage is, hey, everyone, it's John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur here. And we're going to have a blast today. Not just giving you education, but we're going to have fun today. And we're going to creatively play, and we're going to change your life. That is, if you want me to improve and change your life. Only if you want to, right? I mean, that's why you're here, right? You're here today because you want to have a better life. And I'm going to give you the tools to do that. And you're going to be able to walk out of here with a better life. But you got to keep doing it after we leave. And so that gets people excited, right? And this excitement is positively contagious. Oh my gosh, you see what John was talking about? You can have the greatest media campaign, but until somebody gets to know who you are, it doesn't matter. There was a wise person one time that said, all the things about, what you've done, what you have or what you've given somebody, doesn't matter. The most important thing is how you made that person feel. That's it. And so you have these personal connections when you're, at the break, and people come back and say, hey, I love what you talked about when you're talking about fear, or I loved when you talked about this. And well, in the second half, we're going to talk more about that. And then, people were like, I've been trying to do this for years, but I couldn't do it. And then today, when I watched you on stage and you, led me through it, it seems so natural. And I just did it. And I didn't know why. And I didn't question it, but it just happened. So I think a lot of people get stuck in life because they question why something, let's say, is going a certain way. They question the fact of why it's working. If it's working, learn from it, okay? But don't doubt yourself. That's very, very important. So when we go up, whether we're speaking to a small panel, whether it's a sales presentation in your office for a few people, whether it's a big congregational meeting, whether it's speaking to a huge crowd, it has to start with one thing, and that's authenticity. So what I was trying to tell you before is that even though you might get known and people say, hey, you're this and that, nobody really cares about anything until you do one thing, until you do something that allows people to feel a certain way. And when people feel a certain way, they will be addicted to you for life. That's a pretty impressive statement, isn't it, John? Yeah, very impressive. So adjusting to your audience is, I don't want to say it's rocket science, but you've got to realize if you were sitting in that audience, how would you want the speaker to behave? If, let's say, you've all been in class, right? And maybe you took a a seminar that you didn't really like, but you had to take it as part of your requirements, your core curriculum. And the professor always puts you to sleep. And you're like, I just wish he would get more involved. I wish he would get us more engaged. You, as the speaker, have to engage your audience. You can do that a lot of ways. So I have a question. How many of you out there are unhappy with their life right now? Show of your hands. Great. How many of you out there actually want to change it? How many of you today will change it with the tools that I give you? We'll try to change it. Great. Now, how many of you out there are on the fence about whether you want to change your life? Okay, there's a few people. So those of you that are on the fence, you've got about 5 minutes to decide if you want to change your life today. I can't make you change your life. If you want to change your life, great. I've got the tools you can use right now to change your life. All right, guys. So adjusting to an audience, whether it's one person or whether it's 5 or 10 or a million, it takes a connection from your heart. Okay. Remember I said your heart runs your body, not your mind. Your heart tells your brain what to do. And so when you start to realize that adjusting to an audience is creatively playing with them, it's interacting with them. You know, maybe you have them answer a question. Maybe you put a PowerPoint of it. How many of you out there ever went on a vacation that you didn't like? And you get them involved. Or you can have them have these little clickers in the audience, right? Where they press the little button like, let's vote. And then you see the score come up. Or you might decide to get, how many of you out there are unhappy with your life? Okay, there's a few of you out there, not too many. There's a few million. There's about 10,000 of you out there, but there's probably a good 20 or 30. I'm going to pick one of you. Rob, go ahead down row 3. Get that gentleman, third one in from the end, and have him come up here. All right, come on up here, sir. Up stage, comes up stage. Sir, why are you unhappy with your life? Says, I don't know. I just feel like I'm a failure. Well, you know, feeling is the first thing that leads us to where we're going. See, I always said we have to feel it first, manifest it second. What if you could feel for a moment that you were successful? Oh, I don't know if I could try it. What if you could pretend that you could feel for just a moment that you're successful? So with these kind of people, you have to get them to imagine what it's like. I'm not saying you're successful yet, but just imagine for a moment, what would it be like if you could be successful? I'm not saying you're successful, but just imagine or pretend that you were successful, right? That's what's going to happen. They're going to slowly change the neuroplasticity of their mind. They will become a success because now they're going to start thinking in those terms. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who I am by now. I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, a pleasure and honor to be with you this fantastic Monday, June 24th, 2024. I have a great guest coming up for you guys on Wednesday. I'm not going to share who it is just yet, but you're going to love it, and we're going to hear one of his stories. Again, this whole week is about captivating life stories that will change your life. I have another gentleman, I believe, that'll be coming on a little later in the week, talks about a near-death life experience. So these stories are important because they get us to embrace who we are and to grab on to the vitality and live life. So you can either live life as just alive, or you can thrive. So my question for all of you today is, do you want to just be alive, or do you want to thrive? If you want to just be alive, well, you don't need me. If you want to thrive, my content's going to take you to new universes and beyond to change and help you find the stuff in yourself you didn't even know you had. And you can start developing and becoming an even better version of yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Monday. Of course, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Be sure to go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. Do be sure to like, love, and support. Definitely follow and like me on TikTok. Really do appreciate that. We want to eventually stream to TikTok. I hope it's a great day for you. And I hope you understand that the next time you have to give a presentation, you have to adjust to your audience. All right. Have yourself an amazing rest of your day.